Alexander Yusuf. Ryan Bader. Emily Blunt. And Dwayne Johnson. Thank you for being here. Benny. It's your solo directing debut. You just won Best Director in Venice for this. Drew you to tell this story and in such an intimate and stripped down way?
Well, first, I forgot to mention, Maceo Bishop, the cinematographer, is in the crowd. You know, it was just that there was something about Mark and his vulnerability and his strength and just his willingness to try and understand his emotions, however complicated they were. And I don't know, I fell in love with him through the documentary, and I just kind of really and Dwayne, we saw something in him that like we all kind of like understood each other without talking to each other. And then when we started talking to each other, it's like, oh my God, we all feel the same kind of stuff about life, and even though we're from different places. And it really was just trying to like, I wanted people to feel like what it was like to be him and what he was going through. And I wanted to empathize with that feeling of what it's like to be a fighter doing this, you know? So I was driven to get inside of his head.
Dwayne. Dwayne, you and Mark met early in your wrestling career, and you kept in touch. At what point in your acting career did you think, this is a person who I might want to portray, and I'd love it if, Mark, you talked about how it feels to see this interpretation on the big screen?
First off, thank you. I appreciate being here probably more than anybody knows. You know, for me, I could never imagine this would come to fruition. Like, 20 plus years ago when I met DJ and we crossed paths. We were in completely different trajectories in our lives. He goes on to be The Rock, and there's very few places on the planet you can go that people don't know who he is. And so to even think for 1 minute that he would have an interest in playing me, but the understanding is, we talked about it, just where he was and where he is and what he felt he needed to do to kind of take a different path in his career. This was like the perfect vehicle for him. It allowed him to be completely something that nobody else expects. And it's difficult. I mean, it's just difficult, especially when people are like, you're only this, you're only that. You can't be this, you can't be that. I mean, I would tell him, I go, you don't have to do this. and he said the same thing every time. He goes, yes, I do. I got to. And then when you add everybody together, it just turns into this, like Benny was saying, it's this incredible connection. And talking to DJ this last time around, it was when we started talking in the end of 2023, it was a completely different connection space we were in. And, he goes, I'm gonna take this on, and it was just like, okay, but not completely understanding like really what he was gonna do. The first time I ever saw him, dressed in me for prosthetics and stuff. They didn't tell me they were gonna do this. Like they didn't go, oh, we're gonna do prosthetics, he's gonna do cauliflower ear and all that. They didn't say any of that. And I'm standing in the arena and I turn around and he's standing right behind me and it's me. But there's like I'm standing there and I'm going, all I can do is cuss at him. And it was just so surreal. So anyways, I don't even think I answered your question.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, you know, for Mark, now after you've seen him talk and now you've seen him being portrayed in the movie, it's not so much of a stretch that you understand why we wanted to tell Mark's story, because, you know, even though at one time Mark was the greatest fighter on the planet and lethal and he was all these things, but yet at the same time he was this walking contradiction, as you could see, between being this incredible fighter but also just a really beautiful human being who was loving and kind and sweet, and yes, and also in ways broken and just trying. And I remember very early Benny said to Emily and I, you know, I'm obsessed with this idea of just trying and what it's like to try. And, you know, regardless of what situation you're in, if you just try, imagine what the world would be like if you just tried to be something or do something. And, you know, really that's what Mark really, he embodies that. So it was an honor for me, and I want to say for you now, Mark, like, your life changed mine. And thank you so much, brother, and I love you so much. Thank you.